Hi everyone, my name's Amy. I'm from TriTel Networks and we're going to do a training today on MaxUC. All right. This is the login screen. The version that we're talking about today is 2.31.14.4. You'll go ahead and log in with the telephone number and password provided to you, then click Login. Once that comes up, your panel down here will be empty as it's a brand new user. This user is my user that I use here in the office, so it does have information in there. The first thing that we're going to talk about is how to change your soft phone settings. You're going to be using MaxUC as your telephone, so we will need to make sure that the microphone and the speaker are the ones that you actually want to use. So very first thing, we're going to go into the Tools menu and then into Options. That comes up with some preference settings in each one of these categories. We're going to go to audio. When you click on audio, it asks what you want to use for your microphone, what you want to use for your in-call audio, and what you want to use for your notifications. So you see here that I am using a headset, and so I'm using my headset for the microphone and the in-call audio, but I would prefer that my laptop itself rings when a call comes in or plays me a notification when I get an instant message. And so those speakers are my actual laptop speakers, and so you can adjust those as you need. All right. Next thing we're going to talk about is these tabs up here on top. So very first thing, contacts in the center. Any contacts that you have programmed in your system will be listed here. You can easily add those contacts to your favorites list by just right-clicking and then add to favorites. So you can, if we added Chad to our favorites, then you can see that he's there now in my favorites list. So you don't have to look through all of the contacts that are there. You can, of course, use this up here to search for something. So if I was going to be searching for Suzanne, for example, I can just start to type her name. And then I see all of the things that I have with Suzanne, including my chats and my recent calls. So that's kind of nice that it gives you all of that information. To add a new contact, the little pen icon up here, if you press the pen icon, we can add a contact. Pops up with a new window. You can enter in all of this information as much or as little as you would like. Minimum being, of course, a name and a telephone number. Click Add down at the bottom to add them to your contacts, and they will show up here. Now you can see that Chad's phone is in Do Not Disturb mode. That's called presence. We'll talk about presence in just a little while. You do get presence with everyone who is in your system. Anybody outside your system that was listed as a contact, of course, we wouldn't see presence there. The last tab up here on top is the Recent tab. This is going to be everything that's going on with your telephone, with your soft phone here. So we've got All tab, which is both calls and chats together, a Calls tab, and a Chats tab. You can see in the Calls tab that outgoing calls show with this icon, incoming calls with the little green arrow, and missed calls are the red. So really visual there as far as being able to see what's going on. Now you notice as I hover over any of these, I can send a chat message, make a phone call, or add them to my contacts right here from the recent list. So someone outside of my office, I could just hover right over them and add that to my contacts. It fills in the information that it knows, and then I could just click Add and have TriTel there in my contact list. So if you want to send someone a message, if I wanted to send Suzanne a message, when I hover over here, her again, I get this little icon for a chat. So I can click that. That will open up a chat window. I can choose if I had other telephone numbers for her listed besides just 3808. I could choose those numbers here. Now you notice I do have SMS selected here. If it's an internal message, it can be an IM message. If it's an external message, it would be an SMS. So if I wanted to just send someone an SMS message, if that feature is enabled on your system, I can just type in a telephone number and then click the little message here, and that will open up for me an SMS message. So you can do actual text messaging to cell phones if you would like to do that. Next thing we'll talk about is voicemail. The voicemail icon is here. When you click the voicemail icon, it opens up a new window where you get the option to look at those messages that are in there. Any new messages will be bold and blue. Any messages that you've already listened to are going to be dark black. The play icon is here. If you press the play, We'll go ahead and pause that. This is the message that I've got here. This is a status bar of the message, so you can go to the end of the message if you know the phone number shows up there. You've got volume control here, the trash can to delete. Another favorite feature of mine is the ability to save these files out or to forward them as an email. So if you save the file or forward it as an email, it actually binds that up into a WAV file form, and if it's an email, it attaches it to a blank email, or just opens your browse box to be able to save that to a file. So that's nice there. If you forward it as a voicemail message, that can only be sent to people inside of the office. All right, so that's the voicemail. If you wanted to make a call, just like when I typed in the number and clicked the little message icon to send an SMS message, if I want to make a telephone call, I'm just going to click the little green handset, either here in my dial window or down here under the recent calls. You can see if I hover over that, then I get the ability to call the contact that way as well. So either way will work. We'll go ahead and place that call out. This is my call window. Once that call is answered, I get these choices here. I can put the call on hold with the pause button. When you put the call on hold, it tells you that it's on hold up here. The little pause button turns red. You can click that again to resume the call. This would upload that call into video, turn video on or off. The person would have to have video on their end, obviously, for that to work. This is mute and your volume control. You've got your dial pad here if you needed to type something in, and this is record. Now record comes by default with the call. We'll go ahead and record this call. When we press record, it turns red there. Depending on the state you're in, you may or may not need to actually let somebody know that your call is being recorded. We'll go into transfer and conference in just 1 second. I'm going to go ahead and end this call with the big red button. And you're going to see down here in the bottom that recording was saved successfully, and I can just double click and it will pop open a browse box where I can find that recording. So these are all my recordings in here. It does list that recording out with the telephone number and the date and time of the call. If we scooch this out here, the date and time of the call and the telephone number that you recorded to. All right, so let's take an inbound call so you can see that. When someone calls in, we get the window here. I can reject or accept that call. We'll go ahead and hang up on this. All right. So really easy when you want to take a call in. While we've got the call here, let's go ahead and transfer this call. So to transfer the call is this button here. If we wanted to make a conference call, it would be the little plus sign over here. So when I press the transfer button, it pops up with all my extensions that are in here. If I wanted to transfer this call, say to Randy, I can just start typing in his name, click him, and then transfer that call. If I wanted to make a conference call, we can click the plus sign. Again, brings up that same menu, so I can call someone inside of the office or someone outside the office if I just want to call my cell phone, for example. Okay. If I want to join those calls together, we're already joined here, so I can put one of the two calls on hold if we want and pick it back up again. If I need to add another participant, we've got the plus sign here. Okay, let's talk about presence. Our presence is here. When I click on that, I can choose to be busy, or I can actually go into my call manager where I can choose how I want to ring my phones. If I click on this view all settings, then it actually opens up my COM portal call manager, and I can set my ringing to ring one phone, to ring multiple phones, all of those specific call settings there. The last thing that I wanted to tell you about MaxUC is when you go to log out, when you go to File, you have the choice to log out or to quit. Now, if you log out, it's going to ask you to enter in your credentials again, your telephone number and your password. But if you just quit the software, it will remember that information the next time you go in. If you have any questions, please email us at customerservice@tritel.com. Hope you have a great day.